no question that Campbell River Spirit Square has become the outdoor downtown entertainment center of Campbell River. But it didn't really start that way. It started as political entertainment with a debate over whether or not this was a good idea, whether or not it was too expensive. There was lots of negative opinion as well as some positive. I'm Dan MacLennan. Welcome to FaceTime. My guest is someone I think who has probably a more positive outlook on the Spirit Square. It's Jim Creighton, who currently manages events that go on at the Campbell River Spirit Square. Welcome to FaceTime.
Thanks, Dan.
How long have you been doing this now? You're on your third contract, is it?
Well, I'm on, this is my third year as manager of the Spirit Square. I'm on my second contract, and that ends at the end of 2013.
Okay, so but they're usually one-year contracts.
Well, they gave me a trial run.
Oh, okay.
And because I managed to juggle all the balls without dropping too many of them, I guess they figured I was good, and they signed me up for a 3-year contract, of which this is the middle year.
Now, when we first started this big debate on the Spirit Square, there was lots of money came from outside. The province kicked in $500,000.
They did.
And of course, things might not have gone exactly to budget, but I don't think we went wildly over budget. It was one of these things, one got the impression you had to kind of see it in action before you could really draw an informed opinion as to whether or not the Spirit Square was a good or a bad thing. Obviously, opinions still vary, but thanks in part to Jim Creighton and others, the Spirit Square has become rather a busy place, has it not?
Dan MacLennan, yes, it has become a busy place, especially on the sunny days, I might add. The original concept came out during the previous to the Olympics in 2008. The actual Spirit Square was opened in 2009 as it was actually called what was it called? The Campbell River BC Spirit Square, and it was set up just in time to catch the torch as it ran through.
Exactly, big party in the Tyee Plaza.
Boy, oh boy, yeah, the Tyee Plaza. They had
biggest ever, maybe.
I think it was a good day, and if you folks remember what it was like then, it was the most horrible of horrible days with a southeaster. It was in November, wasn't it? It was a southeaster ripping through in all its force. And there was all the bells and whistles happening down there, and everybody seemed to be kind of oblivious to the fact that it was horrible. The Olympic torch people brought in this super stage, set it up in the Tyee Plaza. There was events going on in the Spirit Square as well. And in a way, I guess it was the inauguration of the Spirit Square, but it was also kind of a test of fire.
Baptism.
A baptism, boy, was it a baptism. Yeah.
So.
It was very busy, though. There was a lot of people down there that day.
Indeed. I think of Jim Creighton as local musician.
True.
And, oh yeah, he's the guy who seemed to have made sense of the farmer's market.
I hope.
But you're also sort of one of the main faces out there, and you've helped to make the success of the farmer's market. Was the Spirit Square, the move to the Spirit Square, sort of an evolution that came out of the farmers market? Because why else would you be running the Spirit Square?
Well,
or should I say managing?
Thank you. I was with help. I was recruited. I was working with the Pier Street Association with the farmers market, and I guess people liked what I was doing down there. And I was approached by Andy Adams, actually, Councillor Adams, and Roy Grant, who was on council at the time. They had this Spirit Square in their lap, and they really wanted to make a good show of it because it is basically the centerpiece for the downtown. So they thought, wonder what Jim Creighton could do with this. So they approached me, and we talked, and I gave them all my ideas, which they went away with and thought about, I guess. So I thought, gee, maybe I'll have a job. So then what they did, which is the way the city works, folks, is they put out tenders for a contract. So I had to write up like a business plan and present it to city council, actually. And there were other people who presented their plans, and I guess they liked mine the best, which makes me happy. So that's how I came into Spirit Square. So then they, meaning the city, tried me out for a year, And like I say, things worked out okay, so now I'm kind of entrenched there until next year.
Entrenched.
Dug
in the Spirit Square.
That's right, yeah, and it's been a good relationship.
Did you feel going in that there's some pressure here, because there are some who are convinced that the Spirit Square is not a good idea, and there are some who are expecting it to fail?
I didn't feel any pressure really, because I just, with the plan that I presented, I just stuck to it and just worked off the plan, and it did work okay. But you're very right about, in terms of people, some people not liking the Spirit Square. And when it was first constructed, when the sun finally came out over Spirit Square and people, you know, saw what they had purchased, there was a lot of flack. And you know, if you read the papers or watch this program, probably a lot of people did not like the Spirit Square. You know, they drive by and they see these huge red posts
with the unfilled bolt holes on them. I think that was part of the problem right there, perhaps.
Well, yeah.
It kind of looked like it was waiting for something else to go up.
Yeah, well, that's, I thought so myself. However, I believe the tide has shifted. I think once the programs got started in Spirit Square and the community started using it, and the people who were driving by and looking at Spirit Square and looking at the big red columns and wondering, then they saw people actually doing things in there. I think a lot of them changed their mind. However, there will always be people that you can't please, you know, whether they're within the city structure itself, within City Hall or the city offices, or people on the street. You know, you can't please everybody. I think that once they've become accustomed to the programs and seen exactly the potential of the Spirit Square, now they're having second thoughts. Now they think, well, it's ugly, but it works.
It's ugly, but it works. Isn't there a cough syrup that goes by?
I think maybe there could be.
Buckley's Spirit Square. It seemed to me that there came, the first critical turning point came when it was, let's bring Jim back before City Council to talk about a contract.
Right.
And what we got there in the council agenda was page after page after page of ringing endorsements from the business people around the Spirit Square. Certainly one gets the impression at City Hall that you hope they're clued into the business community.
Right.
The message was pretty strong from the business community. Let Jim do this. Jim's doing a great job. So you obviously got off to a pretty good start, or at least that first year seemed to put you in a good position. How did the user community come on board? Was there a bit of arm twisting involved there too, or was that a problem at all?
Well, just to go back to what you said about the business community, the downtown business community, the downtown BIA, Business Improvement Association, they gave me an endorsement, and I was very, very grateful for them to do that. They want to see the downtown revitalized, and you know, it's been something that I've been in this town for, well, not all that long, just about 25 years, and I've been involved with the BIA, and I've been involved with, you know, different, you know, I had a business in town for a while. It's very important for businesses in town, and not just the downtown businesses, but to have a revitalized downtown. When you come into town, when tourists come into town, when anybody comes into town, whether you're an investor and you want to live here and set up your business, it's important that the town functions. And I think that the BIA in this case thought, yeah, this is a big piece. And I know the previous administrations of the BIA, previous boards, you know, had tried to negotiate with the city about revitalizing the downtown. They brought in consultants from Kelowna and spent thousands upon thousands of dollars, BIA dollars, getting mock-ups and ideas from this group about what the downtown could look like. And we were on constant negotiations with the city, but the city never really touched it for whatever reason. And I'm not going to put the city down for it. I'm sure they had their reasons. But then this Spirit Square opportunity came up, and they figured, well, let's grab it, and
Right.
they did.
Provincial funding, let's go for it.
Provincial funding, and also from the Coastal Economic Trust.
Right.
They had a hand in that, for which we are grateful.
Indeed. That helped to be the catalyst that got things going in the first place. Where was I? The user groups. You have managed to make that a very busy place, to the point that, quite honestly, I can't always keep track of what's going on any particular day in the Spirit Square.
Well, Dan, perhaps you should go to our website.
Maybe I should. And perhaps we should get that website up there on the screen. But the point I was going to make is there's so much going on there that, and because of its location, you must get a lot of head snap traffic, because I just find myself going by and, there's something going on in the Spirit. There's a whole bunch of people over in the Spirit Square. What are they up to? And I guess that, at some level, is what we were shooting for in the first place, is just lots of people in the downtown using it for something.
Definitely.
And you've used it for a wide variety of things. I tend to think of it as the musical, the outdoor live music center. But as you were saying, it's not just musicians that are using the place.
Oh, of course. Very good point. If you go to our website, which is spiritsquare.ca.
Easy to remember.
It is. You'll pull up the calendar and you can go to each month. You'll see that there are musical programs that we put in there and bring bands into town on different dates. But you'll also see that there's a lot of community programs, different community groups coming in to use the square for their own, for their own events. I think the first one was actually Aboriginal Day in 2010. I think somehow it was a beautiful day. It just kind of, it was a very good opportunity, or how can I say it? I'm glad the Aboriginal community christened the Spirit Square, and I think they did. And from that moment on, people kind of went, oh yeah, okay. And then the floodgates opened, and the community groups, well, I got a list of them here because I know I can't remember them all. This year we're working with, so far, John Howard Society, the Downtown BIA, the Women's Center, Crime Stoppers, Daybreak Rotary, Merville Mennonite Church, Campbell River Twinning Society, AIDS Vancouver Island, Vancouver Island Information Center, Youth for Diversity, the Lekwaltak Society, which is Aboriginal Days, and the list goes on. For people who are in community groups and want to have an event, just give us a call, spiritsquare.ca. It's all there, telephone numbers, and you can get a hold of me 24/7. It's cheap. I think the city had the right idea, and I believe this is Ross Milthorpe's idea from Parks and Rec. He's
General Manager, Parks, Recreation and Culture.
That's right, yeah. To rent the Spirit Square, it's like $29. So if you have a community group that wants to use it, it's $29, folks. You get the whole darn shebang. You get the Spirit Square plus access to power. You can put anything in there within reason that you want, any event. So, it's not going to break. It's not going to break your bank.
Is it safe to say that in some ways, the Spirit Square, as it's being used, has become a bit of an example of what we lacked in the past, which was this community resource,
right?
A place smack dab in the middle of downtown where these groups could become visible, could set up displays, information, and whatnot. What did we do before the Spirit Square?
Well, what was there before the Spirit Square? If you remember the grassy knoll.
The grassy knoll.
Yeah, which was a grassy knoll. It seemed to separate the Tai Plaza from Shoppers Row, and I don't know. As a matter of fact, I ran into the guy that built the thing, and I was saying, boy, I'm sure glad the grassy knoll ain't here no more. And then I realized that as he told me, well, I built the grassy knoll. I felt like horrible, but perhaps for its time it was useful. I don't know, but having the square open and having it as a focus, it's great.
It seemed the grassy knoll, as much as it brings back memories of the Kennedy assassination, which is not really a touchy-feely downtown thing. It, like you say, it separated. It almost looked as an attempt to to separate Choppers Row from the acres of parking in Tyee
Yeah,
Plaza,
it probably was.
and a place to sit around to wait for the bus.
Oh, there's another one.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Are we? Okay.
We're going to get to that because, once again, our intrepid FaceTime Streeter team has gone out and hit the bricks to ask you, what do you think of the Campbell River Spirit Square?
We really enjoy Spirit Square. It's great. Jim puts a lot of time and effort into it. Tuesday we're down here for everything that he puts on for the lunch specials. No, it is. It's wonderful. And then the nighttime shows. Oh yeah, no, it's a great place to be.
I love it. I think it's a wonderful place for the musicians to gather, and people have all kinds of things, craft fairs and that piano, that traveling piano. I just love it.
I haven't really been there, but I've noticed some of the events that are there, and I find them very interesting. And I just haven't found time to get to any of them.
I think it was the biggest waste of money we had because it didn't need to be that. And now the veterans, because I cooked a Remembrance Day breakfast every year, now they have to stand out in the street, and I don't think it's right. No, I think it was a big waste of money. Other things could have been done.
I know they work hard on it, but it's still, I think, it could be better. Let's say more involvement of the community as well. And I think, yeah, that is then a kind of a point of getting the proper events there. Eh? But in general, I think it is a good thing in the community, yeah.
The Spirit Square is great. And one of the reasons I think there's a lot of live music that's there. So if you think about how much music that we hear during the day that's all recorded, I think that's a nice counterbalance to the music that we are subjected to in all the shopping malls, all the recorded music that we're inundated with 24/7. So at least there's a tiny oasis of live musical culture at least 1 hour a week.
I like that when they had the bus service there instead than where it is now. It looks nice, but I think it's better when they had the bus service there. It was more convenient for everyone when the bus service was there.
Gives a lot of people a different venue to go to, and it's right in the middle of downtown and attracts lots of people.
I think Spirit Square has turned out wonderfully. It's a great venue. There's lots more happening downtown. I love it. Yeah, it's been a great idea.
It's wonderful. It's a tiny oasis of musical culture in the heart of downtown Campbell River, or it's a waste of money. It would have been better to have the bus service stay there. Let's try and pick away at some of these. Waste of money, I take it you don't agree with that.
The waste of money? Well, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion, Dan, as are you and I. Waste of money. Well, I've heard so many different figures, you know. Campbell River put in 1.5 million, Campbell River put in 500,000. You know, I'm not actually sure what they put in, but I think they put in a portion of the amount that it took to construct the thing.
They did.
Waste of money, I am of the opinion that it is definitely not a waste of money.
Vets standing in the street.
I didn't get that.
I wasn't sure on that one either. In the past, when we had the cenotaph next to the bus shelter, the bus shelter, it seemed that Logger Mike and his post in some ways might even have gotten in the way, but we still line up the vets inside, generally inside the Spirit Square, although we march people past. I wasn't.
Gee, the last November 11th, which was held in Spirit Square, we put tents up for the vets so they could sit. And again, in November, it wasn't the best of days.
Nope.
You know, I don't know about that one.
You've got better sound. There's no question. There's better sound now at the Spirit Square than there was at the bus shelter.
That's true.
Because you've got the Spirit Square, is wired better to begin with.
Electrically, yeah, it is. And also we have a house PA, and I think the sound is pretty darn good.
And the house PA itself is a big part of that Spirit Square infrastructure, because if you're going to do a gathering of people and they can't hear you, that's not much good.
True, which I think has happened perhaps at some of the November 11th events. you know, through no fault of the organizers, whatever, something happened that didn't, you know, network not work.
November is always a challenge. November 11th is always a challenge.
No kidding.
The bus service, there was quite a bit of politics went into the move of the bus service away from the Taille Plaza to the community center, and if memory serves, the city really didn't have much choice in the matter. They were essentially told by BC Transit, we're moving the bus shelter. As to where it was moved, I can't remember how much city say went into that. But need for more community involvement, I guess that's a given. You always want more community involvement.
Yeah, if we could just open up that bus terminal thing again. Folks, you remember what was there. There was the roundhouse kind of, there were, you know, you could kind of sit there comfortably and wait for a bus. But I mean, that got taken over by the dope dealers, to be quite frank. And a pretty rough crowd down there. And if I was like a mother with children, you know, I wouldn't want to sit there and wait for a bus. I mean, who knows what kind of creepy things were in people's minds, some people's minds. So I understand that, you know, BC Transit wanting to change, you know, the locale of the bus depot, of the city bus depot. The problem itself of the not nice people has been kind of diffused. When they moved the bus depot to the community center, the not nice people moved along with it, you know, which makes me happy because it left Spirit Square nice, you know, it was great. But you know, there are these social problems that, you know, Spirit Square, you know, itself, you know, can't approach to deal with, and these problems still exist. You know, hopefully, city can, you know, can get a handle. City and the province can get a handle on them. You mentioned I mentioned the red poles, and you said the brackets that are up at the top of the red poles with the holes in them. Okay, to answer to everybody's question, they mean nothing. Okay, there is no plan B. There's not going to be some great superstructure, you know, a bunch of men running in. Okay, we've got it. You know, put in the pieces that fit on those little things. That's it, folks.
These are bolt holes for the sake of art.
I think the people who put the bolt brackets on there thought, well, maybe they might have some idea later on down the line, but
room for potential renovation.
It could be.
Now, the whole concept of the roof. At first, there wasn't any roof on it at all, if memory serves, and now there's kind of that little. You've got that little roof over the stage, at least so that if people are up there on stage, they aren't in quite so much danger of being electrocuted in a southeaster.
That's not true anymore. When we did have a temporary tarp up there, which looked good, but then on March 12th, when that storm came through, there went our roof.
And
so there you go.
Oh, it's gone altogether.
It's gone. There ain't nothing there.
Is there any plans to re-roof?
There's been a plan to re-roof since I came into the picture in 2010. 10? What year is this? 12? Yes.
12.
So that would be like, how many years ago would that be?
Well, you could call it 3 if it was early.
3. Okay. There has been a plan for that, and lately I've been working with Jason Hartley from the engineering department. There has been $60,000 earmarked by City Council for this project. Jason is coming up with a plan. He's trying to cost it out. There is the possibility we might appeal to the corporate world, the funding bodies, to match the 60 grand to make something that will really last and really complement the Spirit Square. I want to mention one more thing in this regard, is that the city was very nervous about the ne'er-do-wells, the nasty people coming back to Spirit Square and claiming Spirit Square. So therefore, there has been an unwritten rule that I cannot put up any permanent structure there, any permanent shelter. So if folks, if you're wondering why you come down there in the summertime and it's really, you know, it's hot, there's no shade, that is the reason. Now, city will have to come to grips with this because both sides can't be served. But until that happens, there is no permanent shelter at Spirit Square. It is what it is.
It is what it is. A tiny oasis of musical culture. You brought along a list, just a sampling of things that are happening
Sure.
in the Spirit Square. Give us a sample.
Okay, well, every Thursday night from through July and August, 7 o'clock p.m. till 9 p.m., we have the River Concert Series, and there's a whole list of bands. Tonight it's reunion. We had Auntie Kate last week who tore up the place. Folks, on July 28th, the Boom Booms are coming to town. Who are the Boom Booms? Well, they're a world influence group from Vancouver. And I'm really excited about, last year, the band that I was most excited about was the Tequila Mockingbird Orchestra, another group that, you know, nobody's ever heard of, but we managed to bring them up.
Who played this last weekend at the Music Fest.
They did, but we had them when they were young and fresh and cheap, and we were happy for it. The Boom Booms, I think, are kind of that way. Goodness, we've got Tim Williams, the Contraband Dance Band. Free Flow, another modern beat group from Vancouver, is coming in. A local group, the Bentwood Boys, is coming in August. And to end it off at the end of August, we've got Bijou de Bayou, which is a Cajun band. They're coming back with a fiddler this time. Folks, check spiritsquare.ca. We also have a noon hour program every Tuesday. It's called Lunch in the Square. And from 11:30 till 1:15, you can come down, you bring your lunch, lay out in the sun these days, and enjoy some really good music. Last week it was Alyssa Hartman, who is a local girl. She calls Campbell River her home now, who has the voice of an angel. Next week it's Dougie Folkens, everybody's favorite Celtic rocker. Dan, the list just goes on. Oh, wait! There's
more.
There's more. Okay, the Tyee Plaza Charity Jazz and Blues Weekend happens Thursday, July 19th through till Saturday. The Tyee Plaza Charity Jazz and Blues Weekend. And it's going to cost you a toonie, folks, for each concert. Come down, bring a toonie for your charity. What's a toonie? Last year we raised $2,500.
Last question. There's supposedly Spirit Squares all over this province. How did you get spiritsquare.ca?
Through the magic of Chameleon Design. They said, well, what would you like for a website? I said, I don't know, how about spiritsquare.ca? I went, yeah, okay, it's yours. So who knows?
You must have been quick off the mark.
I think maybe it was divine presence somehow. Yes.
Divine.
Don't forget church in the square every Sunday too, folks.
That's true. You can do anything in the Spirit Square you want. However, I'm afraid we've used up all our Spirit Square time here for this afternoon. Thank you for joining us and filling us in on Spirit Square. You want to know more about Spirit Square, spiritsquare.ca.
That's it.
It's all there. It's all to be found. My guest has been Jim Creighton, manager.
I am.
Campbell River Spirit Square.
Proudly.
Look for them at spiritsquare.ca. A little bit of business to take care of. Of course, we'd like to hear what you think of the show, and I'd like to know what camera to speak into. We have this thing on Facebook. We have it on YouTube. We even have email. And so, if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can like us or comment on Facebook at www.facebook.com/FaceTime4U. That's 4, the number 4. You can email us at face-time@shaw.ca, and you can always leave comments on YouTube as well, where all of these programs go. And so ends FaceTime show number 13. I'm Dan MacLennan. Thanks for sharing some FaceTime.